Fahne hoch mit Mut voran, marschieren die Preußen Mann, Mann. Es gibt niemanden auf der Welt, der uns...
Welcome to Nationalist Book Reviews. This channel is dedicated to uncovering and reviewing the books that the modern world wants you to forget, works that defend European identity, national pride, cultural heritage, and the unapologetic truth about our history and our people. Here, we examine the books that help shape nationalist consciousness and European identity, the ones mainstream historians either ignore or actively try to bury. Today on Nationalist Book Reviews, we're hitting the road with I Was Hitler's Chauffeur, the remarkable memoir of Erich Kempka, Hitler's personal driver and trusted aide for over 13 years. Kempka's account offers a rare glimpse into the daily life inside Hitler's inner circle, revealing intimate details about Hitler's personality, his relationships, and the final chaotic days of the Third Reich in the bunker beneath Berlin. From driving Hitler across Germany during tense election campaigns to witnessing the Führer's last moments before his death, Kempka's memoirs shed light on a man often shrouded in myth, an individual who was both loyal and deeply human. This isn't some distant political memoir or a carefully worded apology for modern audiences. It's a window into the mind of a man who was there at the end, carrying out Hitler's last orders amidst the destruction of Berlin. Kempka doesn't lecture, he doesn't grovel, he simply tells you what it really was like to be behind the wheel for the most powerful man in Europe, day after day, year after year. In this review, we'll look at Kempka's unique perspective from the driver's seat, the realities of life on the road with Hitler, the atmosphere inside the inner circle, and the final chaotic days. If you want to experience the Third Reich from a completely different angle, not from the podium, not from the bunker, but from the front seat of the car, this book delivers something special. Join me as we analyze this eye-opening account, uncover truths, and reflect on the lessons of the past. Let's first of all look at what the book is and isn't. What this book is a rare first-hand account from Erich Kempka, Hitler's personal chauffeur and faithful servant for over a decade. It's an unfiltered, detailed memoir that provides an intimate look into the inner workings of Hitler's inner circle, revealing the man behind the myth, his habits, his personality, and the final days of the party. Kempka was present during key moments, driving Hitler across Germany, witnessing the chaos in Berlin, and carrying out Hitler's last orders as the Reich decayed into ruins. This book offers a unique perspective on the human side of Hitler, his kindness, his personal relationships, and the loyalty of those who served him. Kempka's observations shed light on the loyalty and devotion among the inner circle, reminding us that even the most persecuted figures in history were, after all, men. It's a testament to the reality of a party that, despite its historical tack of alleged crimes, was built on the loyalty of men who believed in their leader until the bitter end. Overall, the book is straightforward, practical, and refreshingly free of pretension. Kempka tells you what it was like to be around the man millions followed. What this book isn't is another "I woke up and realized it was all evil" narrative. Kempka never denounces Hitler. He never apologizes for his service. He simply recounts his experiences as Hitler's longtime chauffeur, from the years of triumph to the final collapse, without bending the knee to post-war expectations. It also isn't a comprehensive history of the Third Reich or an analysis of its political ideology. In essence, this book is a raw, unvarnished personal testimony that reminds us that even the most persecuted historical figures are human, flawed, loyal, and ultimately victims of their own era. It's a vital piece of history for those who seek to understand the true nature of the party and the men behind it. Now, who was Erich Kempka? Born in Oberhausen in 1910, Kempka grew up in humble circumstances, working as an electrician and mechanic before joining the National Socialist Party and the SS in 1930. His early career was marked by a passion for motor vehicles, which led him straight into the service of the Führer. Recommended by Gauleiter Joseph Terboven, Kempka's skill as a driver earned him a place in Hitler's personal motor pool in 1932. From that moment, he became a constant companion, crisscrossing Germany during election campaigns and witnessing Hitler's rise to power firsthand. His memoir recounts covering enormous distances, 132,000 kilometers, during the 1932 campaign alone, and developing a close personal bond with Hitler, who trusted Kempka implicitly. Throughout the years, Kempka observed the Führer's private side, his kindness, his demeanor, and the loyalty he inspired among his closest aides. Kempka was present in the Führerbunker during the final days, witnessing Hitler's death, the chaos of Berlin's fall, and his own daring escape from the destruction. Despite his proximity to the party, Kempka's account reveals a man who saw Hitler as a man flawed, human, and capable of both charm and being a fatherly figure. His memoir is a testament to the loyalty and service of a man who, until the bitter end, believed in serving his leader and his nation. In the post-war years, Kempka testified at Nuremberg, confirming the death of Bormann and Hitler, and endured years of captivity. His life story is a stark reminder of the men who served behind the scenes, men who followed their leader, and who bore witness to the tragic fall of a party that forever changed history. Now, moving on to the historical context. This memoir must be understood within the broader framework of Germany's rightful place in history, a nation with a glorious past, now awakened and restored through the leadership of the National Socialist Party. Erich Kempka's account provides a window into the period when Germany, under the banner of the National Socialist movement, reclaimed its dignity, strength, and sovereignty after the humiliations of the previous era. The rise of the National Socialist Party was not merely a political upheaval, it was a renaissance of the true German spirit. The party's achievements, reintegrating lost territories such as Austria and the Sudetenland, and restoring national pride, laid the foundation for a proud, self-reliant Germany. Kempka's service during his transformative epoch reflects the loyalty of the countless Germans who believed in a revitalized nation. This was a time when Germany, through the leadership of Adolf Hitler, sought to forge a future where her people could once again stand tall among nations proud of their heritage and destiny. Kempka's memoir captures the day-to-day realities of this era, driving the Führer across the land, witnessing the construction of grand projects, and experiencing the final stand of a nation that refused to bow to foreign domination. His detailed recounting of the last days in Berlin, the last battles fought to defend the homeland, and the sacrifices made by the German people serve as a solemn reminder Germany's true history is one of resilience, strength, and an unbreakable will to survive and thrive. This narrative is not merely about the fall of a regime, it is about the tragic but noble effort of a people who dared to dream of greatness, and who, despite the chaos and destruction, held onto their honor and their land. In conclusion, Erich Kempka's account is an essential chapter in understanding the true history of Germany's rebirth under the banner of the National Socialist Party. Now, let's look into the core observations of the text. Erich Kempka doesn't write like a politician or a philosopher. He writes like a driver, practical, straightforward, and focused. The first observation is that Kempka's account offers us a rare personal look into Hitler's character. Contrary to the villainous image often portrayed, Kempka describes Hitler as a man capable of charm, kindness, and even moments of normalcy. Kempka states that Hitler was a man who could be a fatherly figure and a loyal leader, reminding us that behind the Western propaganda was a kind and simple man. Second, the memoir highlights the deep loyalty felt by Kempka and many Germans towards Hitler and the party. His detailed descriptions of driving Hitler across Germany, managing transport, and delivering armored vehicles to foreign leaders reveal a nation committed to its resurgence, an effort rooted in a profound sense of service and duty. Third, the last days in the Führerbunker are depicted with vivid intensity. Kempka's recounting of Hitler's final moments, the burning of his body, and the chaos surrounding these events paint a tragic picture of the leadership's collapse, a leadership that was once mighty, but was ultimately undone by internal contradictions and external enemies. Fourth, from Kempka's perspective, we see the personalities and intrigues within Hitler's inner circle, especially the influence of Bormann. These insights show how power was often wielded through intrigue and manipulation, painting a picture of a regime riddled with petty rivalries and political machinations. Fifth, despite the chaos, Kempka's narrative humanizes Hitler, highlighting moments of a casual conversation, personal relationships, and loyalty. This complicates the simplistic view of Hitler as merely a monster. Instead, it reveals a man with human traits that inspired devotion. Sixth, the memoir also serves as an important counter to many conspiracies surrounding Hitler's death. Kempka's eyewitness testimony confirms the official account, providing a clear first-hand perspective that dispels myths and emphasizes the importance of accurate history. These observations make the book valuable and inconvenient. Kempka humanizes Hitler not through grand claims, but through the everyday reality of someone who spent thousands of hours transporting him. He shows a leader who inspired real loyalty from capable working-class men like himself, not through fear, but through competence, discipline, and personal respect. In the end, Kempka's memoir is the testimony of a man who kept Hitler moving through the greatest triumphs and the final catastrophe, and then paid the price for that loyalty. Now, let's look into the rhetorical analysis of the text. As we delve into Kempka's memoir, it's clear that his tone is deeply personal and sincere. He recounts his experiences honestly, without exaggeration, which immediately builds trust with the reader. This straightforward honesty allows us to connect with his story on a human level, making the events he describes feel authentic and real. Throughout the memoir, Kempka paints vivid pictures with rich details, whether describing Hitler's personality, the chaos inside the bunker, or the destruction in Berlin. These descriptions engage our senses and emotions, helping us to feel the intensity of those final days. His ability to create such striking imagery makes history come alive, allowing us to experience it almost firsthand. What is especially compelling is how Kempka humanizes Hitler by sharing moments of kindness, casual conversations, and personal relationships. Instead of depicting Hitler solely as a heinous figure, Kempka offers a more nuanced view, one that prompts us to think critically about the complexity of human nature, even in the most extraordinary circumstances. This approach invites us to see beyond simple labels and consider the man behind the historical figure. Kempka's tone of humility and loyalty shines through as he describes his role. He emphasizes his faithful service, which adds a sense of respect and admiration to his account. His honesty about his experiences and the importance he places on truth makes his narrative not only trustworthy, but also inspiring. It underscores the value of personal integrity, even amidst chaos and destruction. Finally, Kempka's detailed recounting of the last moments and the myth surrounding Hitler's death serve as a vital purpose to establish the truth through eyewitness testimony. His account counters conspiracy theories and highlights the importance of primary sources in shaping accurate history. His openness and candor remind us of the power of first-hand witness accounts in understanding historical events. In summary, Kempka's memoir employs sincerity, vivid imagery, and a respectful tone to build credibility and encourage us to think more deeply about the complex human stories behind history. His words not only inform us, but also inspire reflection on the many layers of truth buried within our past. Now let's look into some key passages and quotes from I Was Hitler's Chauffeur. As we explore Kempka's memoir, certain passages stand out for their vivid storytelling and honest reflection. They help us understand not only historical events, but also the human side of this extraordinary narrative. For instance, Kempka describes Hitler's personality with remarkable insight. When Kempka was introduced to Hitler again, after their first meeting, he states, and I quote, "This time our conversation took on a much more personal character. He wanted to know all about my family relationships, everything about my life and previous employment, down to the minutest detail. During this hour, there developed in me a strong personal bond of faith in Hitler, which never left me over the long years in which I was constantly in his company." End quote. This passage shows how Hitler took a deep personal interest in Kempka, asking detailed questions about his family, life, and background. That conversation created a strong bond of faith and loyalty in Kempka that stayed with him for years while working closely with Hitler. To further reflect upon how Kempka describes Hitler, we can find a few other passages that further acknowledge Kempka's view of Hitler after having travelled with him for some time. And I quote, "My life was enriched on these trips by many experiences. I never had the feeling of being on travels with a boss, but rather with an elder fatherly figure." End quote. Kempka here is saying that Hitler didn't act like a distant superior, but like a warm fatherly friend. This personal relationship made their time together feel enriched and meaningful rather than purely professional. Kempka also offers a rare glimpse into Hitler's personal moments, noting, and I quote, "He rarely spoke to me about politics, but said I could and should come to him with my personal problems and needs. He had an understanding and a ready ear for everything." End quote. This quote humanizes Hitler, aligning with how we review him, and emphasizes on understanding him as a man. Moving on to another quote in regards to Hitler's personality, and I quote, "Whenever we were recognized, people thronged around the car. The personal presence of Hitler gave them new hope in a predicament that we already saw as hopeless. Hitler spoke with officers and other ranks, women and children. The magic of his great personality radiated from him. Often with a few words, he succeeded in putting fresh heart into those in despair." End quote. This passage, we can see in just a few words he could lift the spirits of soldiers, officers, women and children who had already lost hope. As Kempka details his years serving Hitler, he defends Hitler regarding certain critiques he received from certain generals or staff. Kempka states, and I quote, "Everybody has his good and bad side. Hitler made mistakes, but when he is accused today of lacking personal courage, that is unfounded." End quote. Kempka goes further on to state how he rejected claims that Hitler was a coward who avoided visiting the front lines. And I quote, "When people from the Hitler period feel justified in making the allegation today in their so-called memoirs that Hitler always avoided visiting the front in order to keep himself out of harm's way, that is a lie." End quote. Kempka explains in the text that Hitler only stayed at headquarters because his generals insisted that leaving for long periods would harm the war effort. But wherever Hitler believed his personal presence was needed at a dangerous spot, he went without hesitation, throwing caution aside. Now, moving into the final days in Berlin, Kempka vividly describes Hitler's demeanor amid the chaos. He notes, "The final days in Berlin were filled with chaos and destruction, yet I remember Hitler's calm demeanor. He was focused, resolute, and unwavering in his beliefs." This helps us grasp the unshakable resolve that Kempka observed in Hitler's last hours. In Chapter 9, The Death of Adolf Hitler, Kempka recalls the moment he was asked to carry out the body of Eva Braun. He describes the chaotic and deeply personal final moments in the bunker. Kempka is struck by the cold, deathly appearance of Hitler, but he is even more disturbed to see Eva Braun, who strongly disliked and distrusted Martin Bormann, being carried by him. In a small but meaningful act of loyalty, Kempka steps in to carry Eva himself rather than let her greatest enemy take her to the funeral pyre. Finally, Kempka reassures us to his commitment to truth. And I quote, "I have portrayed the events related in this book to the best of my knowledge and conscience. I have omitted nothing and inserted nothing, but I have portrayed the historical facts as I personally experienced them." End quote. This statement reinforces the memoir's credibility, emphasizing the importance of eyewitness testimony. These quotes deepen our understanding of Kempka's perspective and highlight his role as a witness to history, an unfiltered personal account of Hitler and the National Socialist Party. Now, moving on to the critical evaluation of the text. Let's firstly look into the strengths of the text. First of all, the authentic and first-hand perspective. Erich Kempka's memoir provides an invaluable direct insight into Hitler's daily life, personal interactions, and inner circle. His long-term proximity to Hitler allows readers to understand the man behind the leadership, his habits, character, and personal qualities, offering a human dimension rarely captured in official histories. It is a detailed and engaging narrative. Kempka's straightforward and anecdotal style makes the account compelling. His vivid descriptions of events, such as Hitler's last days and personal relationships, serve to humanize a complex figure, helping readers to appreciate the depth of his character and leadership qualities. Kempka provides an insight into leadership and loyalty. The memoir highlights the loyalty and discipline within Hitler's inner circle, showcasing the dedication of individuals who served in difficult times. These stories reflect the strength of commitment and the personal bonds that sustain the leadership during tumultuous periods. Finally, the text has historical value. As one of the few remaining eyewitnesses with close access, Kempka's account enriches historical understanding. It offers a perspective rooted in direct experience, contributing to a fuller picture of the era's personal and operational aspects. Now, let's move on to weaknesses. Firstly, the text's subjectivity and personal bias. Being a loyal servant, Kempka's account may reflect personal loyalty and a desire to present Hitler in a nuanced, humanized light. While honest, his perspective might be seen as one-sided to some readers of the text. Secondly, the limited scope. The focus is primarily on Hitler's personal days and the inner circle, although there are other aspects that are mentioned in the text regarding the party members. It does not provide a comprehensive coverage of the wider political, military, and ideological context. This narrow scope requires readers to supplement it with other sources for a complete understanding. Some readers might feel the writing is functional and plain, effective for a working man's memoir, but not particularly elegant or engaging on a literary level. Finally, the final chapters on Soviet captivity, while honest, could have gone deeper into the long-term conditions of his imprisonment. In summary, I Was Hitler's Chauffeur stands as a powerful testimonial from an insider who served Hitler faithfully. Its strengths lie in the authenticity and vividness of the personal insights it offers, making it a valuable resource for understanding leadership and character. For anyone wanting to understand the Third Reich from a working-class, on-the-road perspective, this book is well worth your time. Now for the final reflections of the text. I Was Hitler's Chauffeur stands as a powerful testament to the unwavering dedication and discipline of those who served Hitler. Erich Kempka's detailed account offers a rare glimpse into the personal qualities of Adolf Hitler, a leader who inspired millions through his strength, vision, and unwavering commitment to the future of his nation. His inner circle exemplified the virtues of loyalty, sacrifice, and discipline, characteristics that continue to inspire us today. What makes this book stand out is Kempka's straightforward, non-nonsense honesty. He doesn't preach, doesn't apologize, he doesn't simply write his past to satisfy the victors. He simply tells you what it was like to drive the most powerful man in Europe, the long journeys, the massive crowds, the growing tension as the war turned, and the desperate final drives into a dying capital. Even after the Reich fell and he endured Soviet imprisonment, Kempka never turned on the man he had loyally served for over a decade. If you want to experience the Third Reich from a completely different angle, not from the conference table or the bunker, but from the driver's seat as history literally moved down the road, then I Was Hitler's Chauffeur is essential reading. Overall, I rate I Was Hitler's Chauffeur an 8.9 out of 10. It is an inspiring and invaluable story of commitment and service, serving as a reminder of the strength that comes from unwavering dedication to the nation's ideal and the leadership that sought to restore a proud legacy. Thank you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this review. In my next video, I'll be exploring a new book. If you enjoy this kind of content, please leave a like or a comment below, and make sure to subscribe for more. Stay safe and see you on the next video.
Die Fahne hoch mit Mut voran, marschieren die Preußen und Waffen, Mann, es gibt niemanden auf der Welt, der uns